Hey there, gang. Remember, the problems of this world are only truly solved in two ways: extinction or duplication. Let's play some head games. Friends, opponents, newly reanimated monsters, welcome to Head Games Arena. My name is Jeterix, and today we are going to be duplicating all of our favorite monsters. And by that, of course, I mean we're playing a Rakdos Reanimator list. Rakdos, for the uninitiated, is black-red, where we dump things into the graveyard, cast reanimation spells to bring them back, but with one small twist where we are then trying to cast cards like Electroduplicate from Foundations. This is a 3-mana sorcery, says create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it has haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this token. We also have a couple copies of Molten Duplication. A cheaper version does a similar thing. I think you'll find in the games that this one, Electroduplicate, might actually be better. So what's the game plan here? It is dump things into the graveyard with cards like Fear of Missing Out, or Bitter Triumph, or cards that put themselves in the graveyard, like Harvester of Misery or Trumpeting Carnosaur. And Trumpeting Carnosaur is the king of the dinosaurs and also the king of this deck. A 6-mana dinosaur, when it enters you discover 5, which means you exile cards off the top of your library till you hit something with mana value 5 or less. Then you either cast it for free or put it in your hand. This card puts itself in the graveyard for reanimation and is also arguably the best duplication target. So there is a 1 in 6 chance, well, that's not correct entirely. There are 6 cards in the deck that duplicate, so Carnosaur can hit those duplicate spells, which creates another Carnosaur, which triggers Discover again. It's not an infinite loop, but it does create some really powerful, explosive turns where you go from having virtually nothing on board to having quite a lot. So reanimate Carnosaur, hopefully hit a duplicate, make more Carnosaur, hopefully hit a duplicate. Hilarity ensues. For good measure, we've also got our old friend Etali Primal Conqueror. Does a fantastic similar thing to Carnosaur in that it just casts the top card off of your library and your opponent's library, so you may hit another reanimation spell like Zombify or Rakdos joins up. You may hit an Electroduplicate and copy Etali to get the trigger again. Here's a very fantastic interaction. Is sometimes I'm going to cast Rakdos joins up. It's going to bring Etali back from the graveyard. Etali's going to hit a duplicate, and when the duplicate makes Etali again, it's going to create a copy of Etali that dies and does damage because of Rakdos joins up. So again, game plan: put stuff in the graveyard, reanimate it, duplicate it, have a lot of fun doing so. That is the whole game plan, all there is to it. So before we move over to gameplay, I want to remind everybody, please like, subscribe, leave comments, whatever you can do to support and boost the signal of the channel. We appreciate your time and your effort. So without further stalling for time, let's play some head games. El Cinco with some numbers. So why do you have numbers in words and then also numbers in numbers? Okay, we're on the draw. Lands look good. We've got a Fear of Missing Out, but no target. I got a removal spell and a duplicate. I mean, this is a fair start. Let's find out what our opponent is doing. Okay, blue-black can mean a lot of different things. We can just play a land and say go. This is going to be like a staring contest, at least for the first couple of turns. Actually, we're going to go ahead and get Fear of Missing Out moving. Ooh, poison deck. Okay. So we're going to pitch Electroduplicate because that's why it's in the deck, is that it really, it ends up being something that you can discard and still get value out of later. Okay. Fear of Missing Out's drowned in Ichor. Okay, so now we just need a way to pitch Etali, and we might be in business. Okay, Blaze Mire Verge. Make things hard to... Let's hope they're playing with a creature. If they're playing with a creature, we are in a really good spot. This deck doesn't always play with creatures, though. Okay. They didn't do anything, which is good for us. Let's get the other Verge down. And we will play Overlord of the Baelmerk, Impended. they're going to give us another poison. Let's hope for some good hits here. Etali is a good hit. We can get the fear back out. And we're also going to play that. And we're going to pitch the other Etali that's in our hands. Draw a card. Okay. We're at 3, so if they have a counter spell, we're in trouble. Let's see what they do. Anoint. Alright. Okay, field's wide open. Play our land first. Zombify Etali. Alright, Etali gets Rakdos joins up. And we'll play the Infectious Inquiry as well. Rakdos joins up, reanimates this Etali. We'll keep the big one. Okay, we will do this. We will decline that. We will take this Overlord. Yeah, look at us proliferating. I love using our opponent's deck. Okay, so we have the win on board right now. Take 10. Yes! Alright, Corinda. Your name is unique enough that I can't say something goofy about it, so well done. This hand is terrible. We are on the draw. Without any red mana, this hand does absolutely nothing. So we're gonna pitch that. This is way better. Although we don't have a land to make Blazemire give us red. So we're still gonna keep it. Very curious about what we pitch here. I don't want to pitch the Etali because it is what the deck is trying to do, but I also don't have the red to play Fear of Missing Out. We're really depending on these cards. You know what? Maybe I pitched the Fear actually. Okay. This is better. Our opponent also on that blue-black life, but a very different blue-black deck. Excellent. Excellent. We're just going to play the Swamp. Okay. Very mid-rangey play for our opponent. We've got the Curiosity on top. We're doing great. Blazemire Verge. So this might be a Valgavoth game. It just might be. Well, it depends a lot on what happens here. We're going to let the 2 go. Preacher is interesting. Okay, so here we're going to go ahead and take out the Spyglass Siren. We really need to draw a land, so very hard to tell what that's going to look like. They have more life than us, so Preacher does what they want it to do. Is it on attack? It is. Alright. Well, I probably should have done this in response. Okay. This is what we wanted. We wanted them to try to get the extra card draw. So I think I'm going to try to make Valgavoth happen. Okay, untap land off the top. One time. Always. Always. There it is. Well, now they can play shields up. So we're going to block. Because really we want them to have less cards. But they have 5 mana now, so very high likelihood. Yep. Very high likelihood they have a counter. What a difference drawing that land a turn earlier would have made. Yep. Good game. Ew in kind. Ew. Ew. Probably not what they were going for. 3rd consecutive on the draw. Yeah, we can keep this. We have really having a removal spell and a Fear of Missing Out in our opening hand is about as good as we can ask for. Okay, we'll play our first Fear of Missing Out. This is at least a little tricky, because I kind of want the Overlord, but I also need a target for reanimation, so this is the right play. Here comes the cut down. Yep. Black Leaf Cliffs. We almost certainly will kill the Glissa. I'm going to get rid of the tap land. I don't want them to draw the extra card. This is ultimately a war of attrition at this point. So, honestly, playing the Fear at this point... I can toss the Electroduplicate. Let's do that. Once again, it's why Electroduplicate is maybe even a little better at this point. Okay. It's why Electroduplicate is maybe even a little better than Molten Duplication, is because you can discard it and you still get value out of it. Okay. Rakdos joins up. Gets our Overlord back. So the problem we run into here is if they have yet another removal spell, which they do. Yep. This deck is... How many is it so far? 3. Yeah. This is interesting. Well, so pitching Etali right now might actually be a mistake, but if I draw a Zombify, I can cast it this turn. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Listen, Thrun's a challenge, no question. But Thrun takes 4 turns to kill you. You got it, buddy. Okay. Trumpeting Carnosaur. Electroduplicate. Do you have another removal spell? You do! Oh, it's amazing! You don't! Okay. Nuts to you, sir. Zombify Etali. Oh, we're popping off. How do you work? Okay, can't be the target of non-green spells, non-green sources, has indestructible. Okay, so we will cast that. We will not cast that. And then we'll move to combat. We will attack with these 2 things. We will untap this one. They would, if they had a removal spell, they would have played it already, right? They would have. This is yet another person whose name is so interesting. I often wonder where people come up with them. Does that look like anything other than a string of letters to anybody? Alright, lots of duplication is a very bad thing to see, because without something to hit with it, it is effectively meaningless. I'm actually going to mulligan this hand. This is way better, because Fear of Missing Out pitches either a Carnosaur or an Overlord. Either will be fine, so this is a far better hand. What is better? We want to keep all the lands. We want to keep Fear. We want to keep Zombify. I actually think... that I'm going to tuck the Overlord, because depending what our opponent is doing, the Carnosaur may make more sense. We will keep the untapped land. Mono red. Well, we shouldn't assume that. We played a mountain. Hired Claw, mono red. Okay, black cleave cliffs. Fear of missing out. Pitch the Carnosaur. Another land. So we get Carnosaur on 4. So feeling pretty okay about that. We will. So the nice thing about this across the board here is that Fear actually does block the Hired Claw. Yep. Yeah. So we block the Hired Claw because if, you know, they do have a pump spell. There isn't a question. They don't attack if they don't have it. So did you attack without having it? No, of course you didn't. Okay. No play on 3. I mean, we're just this is a spin the wheel kind of deck. I'm just gonna play the Carnosaur and hope I draw something interesting. What's the best hit? It's a duplicate, right? Duplicate's the best hit off Carnosaur. And the nice thing about it is that our opponent can't deal with it. They can't deal with Carnosaur. It's too big. I always forget that this has to target a mouse, which actually makes it very questionable if you're playing with all these non-mouse creatures. A little more damage. There it is. Okay. Here is the proverbial spin of the wheel. Zombify Trumpeting Carnosaur. Electroduplicate Trumpeting Carnosaur. Rakdos joins up. Fear of missing out. Tosses a Boiler Bilges. I might still be dead, honestly. Yeah. We have to attack with this because there's no question, right? You just take it. There's no block from our opponent here. Oh no! They seem to not be paying attention to the game. Listen, you should not be playing Arena at work. This is not cool. Maybe they're on their lunch break? I don't know. Maybe they got distracted by something? The funny thing is that if they time out, they just don't block, which is probably the right play anyway. So they can sit here and rope me. I'm a believer that these rope situations aren't necessarily deliberate. Maybe they are, because this isn't a situation where I have done something that feels completely busted. What I just did does not feel completely busted. I mean, I did go from 0 creatures to 3 creatures, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, you know what I didn't catch is I didn't catch that the Rakdos joins up put extra counters on the Fear. That makes this calculus at least a little bit different. So at this point, I do have an Electroduplicate in the graveyard, so I can hit Carnosaur again, but I mean, it looks a little bit like our opponent has timed out, which is a thing that happens in Arena. I'm not even going to delete this video, because this is sometimes what happens when you play online games, is your opponent loses their internet connection, they are playing Arena while they're at work, and they have to put their phone down and walk away. Do 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 do. This is riveting content. I know that it is. Oh boy. And that's it for our opponent. There's just no way that they... I mean, they've timed out at this point. So, I mean, I want to play correctly. So, let's get the land down. Duplicate the Carnosaur. And watch them time out. Oh my. Do, 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 do. Well, you saw it here first, folks. Rakdos Reanimator completely trounces mono red aggro when your opponent loses their internet connection. Good game. That's the Thursday spot. The Thursday pot? The cooking instrument you use to cook noodles on Thursday? Let's go with that. Noodles, how you doing? This is a little slow, but it's solid because I can use this as an early removal and then zombify it and then go from there. We're gonna keep this. We also get a bit of a redraw with Raucous Theater. Not a redraw, but a good look. Do I pitch the Overlord? I think I do. We need a 4th land more than we need anything else. And the Overlord doesn't do a whole lot, other than being a good target for removal itself. Yeah, Authority of the Consoles does shut us down a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But really, like, it slows us down. It doesn't allow those instant speed creatures to kill us. It's fascinating that Authority of the Consoles has become something that people do now. Now they play Talent. Yeah, we're gonna hit that with the Carnosaur just so that we have a Carnosaur in the graveyard. Okay, what's next? Untap land? That'll do it. It's fine. Hit the Bailmark. I mean, from here, they're in actual trouble. So, if they are, do I want to get that back? I do not. That can just stay in the graveyard. I mean, they're probably playing with single targeted removal. So they're asking themselves, what should I get rid of right now? Listen, it's no question that Authority of the Consoles Soul Partition. Interesting. It's probably better than actual removal against us. So we need another untapped land off the top. Do you have another removal spell? Okay. Let's go for it. So they're probably playing Sunfall. So this is ultimately one of the most annoying, you know, decks for us to play against at this point. Yeah, okay. I'll take your Caretaker's Talent. I'll take my Trumpeting Carnosaur. Well, Authority of the Consoles makes it so any deck that is creatures based gets slowed down significantly. There's no creatures in my graveyard. Look at that. 9 cards, no creatures. Alright, so they're making a Mirex token and getting another one here. So, Sunfall? Or they just, did they... I mean, if you have nothing else to do, it makes sense to do it. Now they've got Sunfall mana. They're going to get in for 2 and give me 2, and then they're going to Sunfall, right? Yep. Doing very well. Okay. What do we take? What do we take? We take the Harvester, right? So now that they know that this is sitting in our hands, what are you going to do about it? This is a remarkably challenging matchup. There's really no question. Okay, so each player chooses 6 lands, destroy all other permanents, activate only as a sorcery. When it's put into exile, you can search your library for a planeswalker. Okay. So they can pop that next turn. I'm like, I do attack because I have to put pressure on them, and they're gonna try to kill that thing. That's fine. Let's just get in. Halfway through our deck. I think we almost definitely take the fear. See what they want to do. Yeah, they want to activate the thing. We're gonna discard a card and remove that. Because I don't have more mana, like, so if I play Fear of Missing Out and they remove it and I get my 3rd poison counter, that turns Skrald's Hive on. So I think I'm not gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna remove this. And we'll see where we go from there. Sylex kills their own authority, right? Yeah, it kills their own authority. Going for it. I'm not sure that makes an enormous amount of sense. Okay, so we are going to play our land for turn. We are going to play Fear of Missing Out. We're going to discard an Electroduplicate. Then we're going to duplicate Fear of Missing Out. Attack, get the extra combat. We're very close. I think we might... I don't want to count my chickens. But we're very close. I gotta tell you, nuking your own authority does not seem like a great move to me. They really must have felt like they didn't have another option. I mean, they didn't have a way to block the Overlord, so... Yep. So I can do the exact same thing this turn. I can Fear of Missing Out and Electroduplicate it. I can Overlord and just blast them for 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm 2 mana away from the Trumpeting Carnosaur. So let's take the safe play. Because this actually gives us card advantage as far as I'm concerned. Because I get to play the Fear, pitch the Duplicate in my hand. They may have an instant speed response. They may not. Alright, we're going to pitch this land. Another Fear. Okay. Man, fear of missing out and Electroduplicate coming through. Have they seen the Boiler Villages? They have. They've seen it. They know the card exists. So they have to gain 3 life. They don't know that I've got the Boiler Villages in my hands. What are we gonna do Thursday? Okay. Coming in for the kill. Activating Blast Zone? Amazing. Bam. Why didn't that work? Oh, they activated the wrong one. Yeah. We're on the draw again. I totally missed Leonard's name because I was spaced out. Leonard is a incredibly respectable Magic player. Yeah, this is fine. I mean, the nice thing about Carnosaur is that it is both things. It is the deck's point. It is trying to get to this card, but it is also early game removal. It's not fast. So really, like, when we're on the draw and we're playing, you know, if we're playing against an aggressive opponent like this one, you know, we have an uphill battle. Okay, Raucous Theater. We do not need another land. We are really looking to draw Harvester of Misery here. It's fairly good against this deck. Our opponent did mull to 6, which gives us a little bit of hope that their hand is not very good. Because really, once you're down to 6, you're really incentivized to keep a hand, even if really, like, you're keeping a hand based on how many cards you have, not even how good the cards are. So still staring at this. Okay. All right. Black Cleave Cliffs. We will play Fear of Missing Out. And we will pitch a land. Another Carnosaur. Does not feel great at this point. Embercleave Challenger. Do they bring it with everybody? They don't. We're just going to take that 3. That's easy. Alright, they're down to 1 card in hand. The real question is, do they have a protection spell? It looks like they don't. I'm not seeing any stick whatsoever. Yeah, I'm not seeing any stick. I'm gonna take this out while I have a chance. Another land for our opponent. Pump up the Hired Claw. Oh, that can target the Heartfire hero? Jeez. I knew that. Yeah, we're boned. Oh, we just take the 5. There's nothing for it at this point. I'm afraid that's it, friends. Just a very, very bad draw for us. on the draw. We need an actual removal spell, and we don't have it. Another token for our Heartfire hero. Now we're just dead because of, well, yeah, because if they attack with the Hired Claw, yeah. Yep, good game. Alright, Twibby. What are we doing over here? Alright, we are on the play. We have an early game removal spell and a Zombify. We can work with this, I think. It's not the best case scenario. We would love to draw FOMO off the top. That would make our hand way better because then we can pitch Valgavoth. But, I mean, really, and any of the things that allow us to discard. So, fair handful of cards that allow us to do so. We just need to draw one. So our opponent has Dimir Sleeves. Let's see if they live up to their name. Or if they want to keep their hand or not. What are we doing, Twibby? I feel like I've had a lot of games like this today where things have moved very slowly and are bad for content. Alright, here we go. Just a swamp for us. Alright, big draw off the top. Hopeless Nightmare. Okay. Okay. Yep. We just need to draw lands. I haven't played against this deck yet today, but I have trounced this deck in the preparation up to it, if this is the Esper Pixie deck. Because really it forces me to discard cards and doesn't have a fantastic way of dealing with reanimation. We will put Etali in the graveyard. Here's our third land. Yeah. How do you feel about those discards? They feel good, right? Sure. Now I'm gonna discard yet another card. We're gonna discard Harvester of Misery. You're gonna level up Bandon's Talent. I didn't get a fourth land, but as soon as I do, they're in trouble. Unless they have a, like... This is like... Okay. Fourth land, Zombify. We get Valgavoth here, right? Deal with Valgavoth? They can. They can pay the ward, but then I get all their cards. Like, if they pay the ward, I get all three of those cards. Actually, if Valgavoth's not in play, maybe I don't get to play them. Sure. And Rakdos joins up. Let's do it again. It's even bigger this time. Good game. All right, friends and opponents, how did we do today? So, a lot of interesting games today. Total record on camera was 5-2. We can put a little asterisk there. We had at least one of our opponents time out. I'm not going to say that we were advantaged in that game. I think that was anybody's game at the time where our opponent started to time out. Very real chance we lose that. Hard to say. So 5-2 with an asterisk. Definitely won, 4 games. So 4-2 out of the 7 with, being completely honest. So this deck is incredibly explosive. I'm not sure that this is the optimized version of it. I've definitely seen a lot of versions that are more all in on the Reanimator plan. And in best of one, Reanimator's a real strategy because they don't necessarily play main deck Graveyard Hate. Some decks do, and when you face off against the main deck Graveyard Hate, you have a hard time. I do want to note that in one of those games we played against Authority of the Console, which if you are a dedicated viewer of the Head Games channel, you know your boy does not like Authority of the Consuls because it really messes with a lot of my strategies. We beat that deck. They made a questionable choice, but we beat that deck. Even though we weren't able to kill them with hasty threats like we would like to, we just outlast them because the deck is capable of getting an extraordinary amount of value. Because reanimating cards like Etali, Primal Conqueror and Valgavoth the Terror Eater are just backbreaking plays. So I think if I were going to update this deck, I might actually cut down on the duplications. I think I might add a Bitter Reunion in this deck for more cards that allow us to discard cards that are currently in our hand and get us a little card advantage. We all know that Bitter Reunion has the additional benefit of creating an opportunity for haste late in the game, which can get you a win out of nowhere. So I really do think that maybe that makes more sense in this spot, but I like Electroduplicate. I'm just going to put it out there because in this deck, it's something that you can discard early on and not feel bad about. If it's in your graveyard, you still have the value of having this spell for 4, which still feels okay. It is definitely an option when you have so many creatures with incredibly powerful enter the battlefield effects. So that is all for today. Thank you as always for watching, for tuning in, for taking the time. We very much appreciate you. Give us a like, a subscribe, leave a comment under the video. Remember, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and most importantly, take care of your head.